Welcome to another edition of the Empower Hour. I am AlQamar.
And I'm Hanifah.
And we are your hosts each and every week, every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. We come to you with an impactful topic of discussion that affects our everyday lives. Today will be no different. In the studio with us, we have our two special guests that's going to be here to help us talk about male bashing. Woo.
Big one.
Here to my left, we have our dear brother, Von X.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you, dear sister.
Thank you so much for joining
My
us.
pleasure. Yes, ma'am.
And then beside him is our brother, Demetrius.
How everybody doing out there?
And we, Hanif and I thought that these two brothers would be a good combination for this particular topic of discussion because I think you guys come from a little different angles when it comes to this topic. And I'm sure the studio audience will find out soon enough. But, Hanifa, did you want to say anything or before we?
No, right now.
No?
I
Okay.
know.
Well, as usual, we're going to jump right into the topic of discussion. If you guys have any questions or comments or want to share in, definitely put your messages out on the screen and we'll do our very best to get to them.
And if you're watching from Facebook, make sure you share the live.
Please share the live. Okay, Brother Vaughn,
Yes, ma'am.
male bashing. When you hear that terminology, what comes to mind for you?
First, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praises due to Allah. May Allah give us the wisdom and the spirit to have a meaningful conversation to reach our people.
Yes,
So
sir.
thank you for having us, and thank you, dear brother, for
No.
being a part of these conversations. When it comes to that word, bashing, it comes in two folds in my assessment. Bash is something that's meant to destroy. When you look at the hurt of our sisters from that perspective, you can look at it from dissatisfaction to where maybe some of the sisters are maybe coming out saying certain derogatory things about men, hurt, pain, stuff of that nature. Bashing to me also is by design to belittle the black male image. So we can look at bashing in a large array of ways. Via the television, the music we see, the images put before us during the media.
Good
That is
point.
also another form of bashing if you want to use it in the proper content. Because bashing is to destroy.
Right.
So what other way is to destroy the male, the black male, that's supposed to be the leader, provider of the community, by making him look other than himself, by destroying the image and how he looks. So that's my answer reference to when it comes to bashing, what it means to me.
Good points, good points. Demetrius, same question.
Pretty much a lot of what the brother said. I think, far as men bashing women is usually through the music. Honestly, in day-to-day conversations, I hear a lot of frustration, which could translate as bashing. I wouldn't debate anybody if they said, "Oh no, those brothers out there bashing those sisters." But I think mainly through the music is where you hear what would be considered or just flat out is bashing. So that's where I mainly.
When you say through the music, what in particular? What do you mean?
Well, with music, it gives any artist the opportunity to tell his side of the story. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, with the R&B singing in the
Without being
background,
interrupted.
without being interrupted. So that, and whether he's right or wrong, the music gives that man and or woman, but mainly we talking men, the opportunity to express themselves about what they feel about women. It could be positive, it could be negative, but we talking about bashing. So, yeah.
What type of person does this type of behavior? I mean, do they have like a prototype? Is it, a certain specific kind of, or is this cross all genres and ages and socioeconomic statuses?
Just thinking about that, sister, we gotta think about our history, and sometimes we gotta look at the essence of the root into why the black male has been designed to be the way he is. We call it in the nation, the nigger is America's Frankenstein, where you took a man who was once civilized and made him uncivilized. So once you make him uncivilized, he becomes unappealing to society. He becomes a menace to society, literally. So what is a target is obvious. If you look at the prison system, the education system, the status and how productive he is in the community, and it's a clear sign of what is and who is targeted. By taking the male out of the equation, young boys coming up don't have enough. We have people there who are positive, but we don't have enough men in front of young boys to teach them how to be productive. So if you look at it in a larger scope and we sit back, we got to look at the dynamic. We want to make up probably 13-14% of the population, but so much is targeting on us.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's obvious
Negatively.
and it's designed by that.
Yeah.
Even if you look at, as the brother said, the music that we display. Once upon a time, I'm pretty sure the brother can contest to this. When I was growing up, we had positive men in front of us, especially when hip hop started. Now I'm of age when hip hop started. I knew what was before us.
Okay.
It was a little bit more conscious. You had the Zulu Nation, you had 5% Nation, and other men of conscious because they wanted radio play and they had to make sure the content was clean. So coming up as a young man, I never heard of Zulu Nation. What was Zulu? That was something often, but I never knew that was a strong warrior tribe.
Right.
So if you didn't hear those kind of things, you know, it wouldn't give me a way of stimulating thought. So with that being said, this is what my brother was saying. Look at the images that we are doing with the male. They don't care what the male of destruction is saying. He can call his sister a bitch, excuse my language. He can call them outside their name. As long as he's not talking about unification, it's fine. They don't care how many millions he makes. The bigger picture is the genocide. That's the bigger picture. So when it comes to that content, I think that we got to put in its proper perspective.
Read the question one more time.
What was the question?
What you was talking about was the prototype. What
Oh,
type
the
of-
prototype.
what
Okay,
type of
so
person?
Thank you.
so again, so at a particular time, I'm gonna just jump right into it. When crack came, it really just broke down the respect that we had, in particular for the woman. The woman was already left because the black man was taken out the home for various reasons. So once it was just the black woman, and then she started getting on drugs, or she started to deal with other men to try to sometimes help her out and things like that, the respect I feel like was lost that young men had for their mothers, for the things that was going on. And I think that kind of translated into a lot of the disrespect that went on during that era, because during that era is when a lot of just basically we lost all kinds of self-respect. Even though we still had a lot of the positive music, but that was fading out too because of the drugs and the things that young people were seeing. So I think because of what young people were seeing during that era, that primarily birthed the disrespect, the language, call the women bees and things of that sort.
Now, I guess my question is, what effect? Because when I'm the angle I'm coming from as far as male bashing is women. We could say black women, but women particularly bashing the black male, black women bashing black men, right? And you see a lot of it. I know you see it on Facebook, or just on social media, in the media period, in the TV shows.
Right.
The black man tends to play that role where he's just not really the man that, like the positive male model that you're talking about, or somehow the woman is the dominating one in the relationship. We oftentimes see that on television, but it just even in general with the black woman not protecting or having the black man's back, and as soon as one says something because they've been hurt, then we have a whole chorus.
Right.
What would you guys say? What particular impact, if any, does that have on the black male psyche, and how the black male does relationship with the black woman?
I think personally that black men overall are just frustrated with black women because a lot of brothers feel like black women don't understand black men. They say black women say they do, But I think ultimately black men feel that and I feel that way. So I'm gonna just, I feel that black women do not understand black men, and that causes a rift.
What is it that they
That we don't understand? That's
Okay,
what
the
I was
things
gonna
that the things that they don't understand mainly is that financial piece. That every person is not gonna be a millionaire. Or not make six figures when you really look at the numbers. Now, can brothers be doing a lot better than what we doing? Absolutely. But when you really look at the raw numbers, it's not set up for everybody to even be a millionaire. It's not even set up for everybody to make $100,000 a year. So just understanding the struggle that brothers are really going through. And what y'all are going through, what we going through together, but primarily what men are really going through day to day. I see healthy, functioning black men walking the streets every single day. And I know if these brothers had access to jobs that they would work. You understand what I'm saying?
what you're saying.
But when you see those brothers, it's like, why are they just walking around doing nothing? Because it's set up that way for them to walk around and do nothing. So understanding that is where I don't think sisters understand it, and I think that's where brothers get frustrated.
I'm gonna put a pin on what you said, because something just came to mind that I would hear women tend to say in reference to, but I want Brother Vaughn to speak to the impact it has on the black male psyche and the way that the black male does relationship with the black woman.
Yes, sister. Well, you gotta look at the definition of program. Program is like we do a computer. You install what you want it to produce or want it to do. We're being programmed every day, as the brother stated earlier, through the music and the television. Now, if you look, for example, some of the reality shows that's poisoning our community, it always shows a sister being belligerent in a brother's face, and the brother doesn't show any kind of manhood to defend himself. So his job is just to sit back and take it. So it shows the dominance coming from the sister, instead of us looking at how we can build a relationship, but all by design. We are so quick to get caught up on to be in the limelight and for the wrong reasons. So when that comes to mind, in reference to the programming of our people, we got to ask, what is the purpose of a man? To get in this right perspective, a man's supposed to be a producer and a provider. Outside of that, if a man does not have a purpose, or he don't see himself as being productive, what is he living for? So he devalues himself, because by circumstances, sisters have to step up because of the division in the household. So a sister has to be a producer if she has children, or she wants to obtain the home. She does not want to wait because she's sitting back, but she's not being productive. But if a man's not feeling that I live for a purpose, he seeks things other than himself to keep himself uncivilized. So if we're not dealing with a brother and a sisterhood, see, this is where we're losing the dynamic, because love for self and love for each other builds a community. When there's no love, there's no community. So when I look at you other than my sister, then there's no love. When I see my brother other than brother, then guess what? I have no problem taking his life. I don't have no problem seeing if he's struggling. I don't have no problem not helping him, because I don't see him other than lesser than himself. So it's important that we build that love and build that foundation, because sometimes we see a problem in the home, like it's a leaky roof. The first thing we do, we don't look at the walls and see where it's coming. We go to the source. So we got to see where the source is to find out what the problem is, why we don't have this relationship. It's fixable if we want to fix it.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
And I know you want to go back to him, but I just want to real quick mention, because when you said the love of self, and when we don't have the love for each other, and I find that it shows itself, it reveals itself in a lot of different ways, like the economic piece, why we support so many other businesses outside of our own. And like you said, if you loved your brother like you loved yourself, you would want to see your brother with more and support him in that economic piece, as well as relationships. So it goes even further than just the male-female component. I just wanted to kind of throw that in there.
I guess I'll take my pen now. What I was going to ask is, because you was talking about the economic plight as far as black men is concerned, and black women lacking understanding as it pertains to that. Could it possibly be that black women, because they say that we are the most we are the most educated between the two, right? Could it be that because black women have been given or have had opportunities to educate themselves and therefore increase their income? Could it be that black women are looking at you and saying, I am black too and I struggle as well, so that's not an excuse? Is that a possibility? Do we have different plights?
Good question.
Technically, no. But socially, how it's set up, yes. We're striving for two different things. I believe so, because it's real simple. If you making 50,000, I'm making 50,000, put it together, that's 100. It's really just 1 + 1 is 2. It's really that simple. But because we're not really thinking that way, we're separating our plights, as you say. That's why we're not able to do that. So again, it's like I want my 50 and I want your 100. You understand what I'm saying? Versus us just putting it together. And
you're saying
like
the woman wants more than the equal share.
Right. Or just all I'm saying is just she doesn't want to bring it together and genuinely build.
Okay, that's the woman.
That's the woman.
Okay.
Do you see it in that light?
I look at it in this context also, and I always believe in where we got to start from the root. Sometimes before we get into any kind of relationship, there should be an interview before you understand. If a sister knows she's making 100,000, and she sits across from her brother making 20,000, mathematically it means that she's going to be the dominating force in the home. So the brother got to ask himself, do I want to put myself in that position? Not saying that the brother is not, you don't put value because of a dollar, but if you're dealing with who runs the household and the person who's making the larger, now it's the difference between somebody making 50 and 40,000. That's not a big gap. But somebody making 100,000 and 20,000, that's a big gap. And she's going to eventually look at, okay, the man that I have, he's not able to produce. And now that's what the dynamic by design is creating. So before we get into any relationship, because right now we're building the horse before the cart. So we are saying, before we get into any relationship, ask that question, what do you want, brother? What do you see yourself as? And then the sister got to assess that, okay, what kind of producer is this man before me?
I struggle with that a little bit. The reason why is because my question to that is, because I hear we're talking about roles, and we're talking about male bashing here, okay? And we're bringing up different reasons that women may possibly start to bash a man or men. When we're talking about roles, okay, and we're saying this is what a man is supposed to do, this is what a woman is supposed to do, why does it all of a sudden become contingent upon what they make? Can't I respect you making $20,000?
No.
Why not? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Because the other things because we don't respect the other things that money doesn't directly control, like respect. You understand what I'm saying? Or picking up the trash in the community, or just being a polite, nice individual. Now, if you meet a person that's like that and they make $25,000 a year, I think to me they're worth $100,000
more
or more. You understand what I'm saying? But that's not, again, how men are judged. Men are first judged on how much they make, and then you get into the personality and those are the things like that.
Isn't that wrong?
Yeah, it's wrong, but that's what it is, though.
Is it societal factors, though? Is it because of the capitalistic society we find ourselves in?
It's a dog. I like to say it's a dog-eat-dog world. I mean, when young ladies are growing up, they're not. The only thing that a woman is really being pressured into doing is having sex early. While men we being pressured from having sex. We got to have $100,000. We ain't but 16. We got to have a car. We got to have all these things. So that sways us away from focusing on school, while women are focusing on school and they're in kind of la-la land.
Interesting.
So then, so as life goes on that way, our perspectives on life definitely changes. Because while women just steady keep climbing inch by inch, this young brother like myself, now I'm in juvenile hall for a year or two, so I don't get to graduate from high school. You graduated from high school. Now you off to college. So so socially, the black man and the black woman, we've been on two different ends of the spectrum, and we refuse to sit down and have the discussion to bring it back together, to see why I'm in the position that I'm in and you are the position you in, and however, this is what I can bring, and this is what you can bring.
So what I'm hearing, if I can, if what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of pressures on the black man
Absolutely.
right now. That the
Now.
Yeah, well,
Well,
yes.
you know what you're
Thank
saying.
you for
Yeah,
the
right,
correction.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
That the black woman don't quite understand
Mm.
because she's
Nah.
not in that position as a black
Yeah,
man.
Yes, or just because, of course, it's things that, you know, as she's a woman, she just, you know, because she's a woman, I'm a man, she's not going to understand it biologically, but I don't even think she's really opening up her eyes or her ears to really understand. I think if she did, she would understand it just a little more than she does now. Just really sitting down and have a conversation with a black man that doesn't consist of, I'm trying to get to know you sexually, but I want to know you mentally and what's really going on with you.
No, in reference to what he said, Brother Braun, if you can answer this, okay, because you'll hear a woman say this as well, in reference to what Demetrius just spoke to.
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you draw the line between supporting and building and pacifying and enabling bad behavior? Where do we draw the line?
Well, Sister-
Because that's
yes, ma'am.
possible too, where a man is
Absolutely.
he's just not doing what he's
Yeah.
supposed to do. And sometimes it's almost like as black women, we're expected to support that regardless. And I can't advocate for that because if I have a daughter or a son, because I don't want my son doing it either, I can't tell them, black people need to stay together, and this person is just being a bum, a straight bum. So where do we draw the line between the two? How do we differentiate?
Well, I believe that in mathematics we have orders of operations. Unless you understand the orders of operation, the whole equation won't work. So we look at the orders of operation where what is the role, once again, of the man? Is he supposed to be a provider and protector? So the woman can't have it both ways where I want the comfort of a man, but dissatisfaction comes quickly when reality starts hitting.
Yes.
So this is where contradiction comes in.
Yes.
Very
Okay,
true.
so
Yes.
when a woman says, "Oh, it's okay if he makes 20,000, 25,000.
That's right.
As long as I got a man in my bed and a man in the household to take out the trash, or I can
Yeah.
tell my girlfriend, I got me Tyrone. What does Tyrone do? Tyrone's a nice person. You don't never say his occupation because there's
He's a really good man.
He's a really good man, but a woman is proud of her man, and he's produced in a certain way. My man got his own business. He talks strong. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my man's a doctor. He's an electrician. He's a plumber, a bus driver. He's a policeman. You can throw a title on it. You say it with such confidence, and you cocky with it. Okay? Now, your man just making odd jobs, and he's working at the bodega or the corner store, whatever. That's not a dishonorable job, but you don't talk as. You say he does okay. He good, right? You soften up a little bit. When
I
a
got
woman
you.
feels
Yeah.
a man's productive, you feel that spirit because by her nature, she's supposed to be his help him meet his goals to be successful. That's where the balance comes in. That we missing the whole dynamics behind that, the balance. So as long as she can see value in him, and he knows from a civilized mindset, because number one, black man is damaged. We all damaged. Okay, let's put it in that perspective. We are sick people.
Yes, sir.
Should we all as black women go into relationships with that knowledge?
Well, that's where the interview comes in at. Because
Right.
guess what? If you are seeking a mate,
Yeah.
what are you looking for, sister?
Right.
Right.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that back in the days, our fathers, no matter what they did, they had many skills. You understand what I'm saying? You could go if you didn't have a father, you could at least go next door and get that father to fix the toilet, to hang this, to hang that. Young black males don't have any just day-to-day skills. So even I know I mentioned this last time I was on the program. If a male has some level of skills on top of whatever he can bring financially to the table.
On top of his 20,000.
Yes, you understand what I'm saying? That will make up for it. But a lot of brothers don't have any skills.
A lot of times when you have skills, that adds to the 20,000 though.
Absolutely,
That builds
absolutely,
more money on the
absolutely.
pie.
So
In the
so it's like if you have a son, he needs to know how to paint. I mean, just to paint his own house. Look how much money that saves if you paint your own house, if you clean your own gutters and things of that sort. So we got to make sure our young brothers have the basic skills to just manage a household. You understand what I'm saying? And then when you enter a relationship, you take those skills and it translates to some level of value.
So I have a question. Is there a way for us, black men and black women, to have a conversation about some things that both ends can work on without it being a bashing session? Is that possible? Because oftentimes when we have these conversations, now it's just 4 of us here, and we're on the show and we're pretty civil. But I've been in conversations where it just gets out of control,
Right.
and it just takes. And what I found a lot though, it's sometimes it's just triggers.
Yes.
Someone can say one thing that triggers one person, and then it just goes like wildfire. Is there a way for us to hold each other accountable? Is really what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
without it becoming a big bashing situation.
Well, men, I think, going into any conversation with a woman about relationships, you have to know that you're going to primarily be the one that's blamed for everything.
Oh.
So, but you have to take that approach. And because of that, you have to accept a whole lot more of her anger than she's going to expect, that you can expect from her, even though I feel like women do a lot of things too. But honestly speaking, I know women are way more frustrated with black men than black men are with black women.
Yeah.
I think so. So I would give her a little bit more pass in the conversation to be a little bit more angry and me accept it and then approach the conversation like
Humility. Okay.
Well, I believe that we're dealing with a lot of engrams. Like the brother said, certain words trigger emotions, and we're not rising above the emotions or thinking of a God.
There you go.
We let emotions dictate the conversation instead of allowing
It's a big
us
one.
to have actual facts. Now, I'll give you a prime example. Me and my brother have a disagreement. We're not emotional creatures, so we can dialogue a little differently. Where you're dealing with the woman, her emotions and certain engrams may come into play. So when we have that interaction with each other, and I remind you of something in your past, whether it be your father, your brother, or any male, it's going to trigger an emotion by nature. So I believe it's very important that we do separation from what's really harming us.
Yes.
Okay, and I think deprogramming ourselves where, like you stated earlier in the program, the music, the television, just turn it off because it's poisonous our mindset on the relationship between us.
That's right.
I'm gonna give you a prime example of how programming works. Are you familiar with the show The Bachelor? Now, The Bachelor is always a white male. There's never an Asian up there, a black man, Indian. He is the prime target. So you have every ethnicity of women in there
Going after him.
going after him, but yet you gotta look at the programming. Yeah, if I want to be successful, now it's the end thing now where interracial couples in the place. So the black man is completely out now. They put the feminized black man in front of you, but guess what? When the sister's on the arm, she's now on the arm of a white man or Asian, what have you, because they want to keep that dynamic there. So sisters now, the new language is, hey, I'm not worried about the brother. I want to get me a man. I'm leaving my brother. Now we got to look at the history. The black woman has been the backbone of the black man since the time of slavery. We couldn't make it without you. So how all of a sudden now we getting brand new because we got a degree from our oppressors that we don't need each other. You see, so this is where we get cocky at when some of us make these college degrees and I got my MBA, my PhD, stuff of that nature. All of a sudden you feel that you're better than your sister, better than your brother because you got these titles. But at the end of the day, these titles actually mean nothing. I say because we don't own the companies that we have. So we got to look at the positions that we play. So just to go back with the brother said earlier, you can create skill sets. A trade school, an electrician and a plumber makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A computer, you can't use a computer to fix your toilet, but you need somebody with a skill set. So this is where we start finding balance at. There's nothing wrong with getting a college degree. I'm not doubting it. But just to answer the question, to find out where we are, we got to go back and start to the root and say, where did we fall off at? We got to go back to that. This is why we have those engrams.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, because that, I think, if we can go back to the root and understand what causes the triggers for even us to be against each other and bashing each other, then we can better understand why we do what we do.
Right.
And so, again, I think, I'm big on understanding the root causes of why we do what we do. And I also find that it's a lot of finger pointing going on out there.
Blaming,
A
Absolutely.
lot of finger pointing. It gets to a point where if a sister has something on her chest that she wants to share, a brother will jump in and be like, "Well, you did this or you did," you know. So it's never, it never gets to a point of understanding because everybody is blaming the other person.
Right.
And so how do we get to a point of understanding if that is the culture of what we find ourselves doing?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that I think because brothers, again, are always being blamed, and so when it's a conversation, like I told a sister recently, when couples go to couples therapy, is usually when the woman invites it, because it's probably going to be primarily about the man messing up and not her. So women have to be open to criticism. I think if women are just as open to criticism, it won't be as much finger pointing. It'll be even. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're listening to me, I'm listening to you.
Right.
A lot of times, again, and I would advise any brother, because I've been in a position where a woman was taking care of me, and I didn't have a job. You understand what I'm saying? Now, what I did was I made sure by the time she got home that, you know, I wasn't laying in the bed, even though I laid in the bed all day because I was depressed. I ain't had no job. I ain't know which way to go. But men will be still laying in that bed when she get home from work, still on that PlayStation, house smelling like weed. I'm like, dude, you have to, and then you get mad because she fussing at you about it. You understand what I'm saying? Because you wasn't thinking to say, okay, let me open up the windows, let me at least pretend like I've been productive. And I'm not saying run a hustle on women. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying that brothers can't be mad when women are getting on us about things, when we're continuing to do a lot of things that just don't make sense. You understand what I'm saying? And so when the brother does say something to a woman that she may actually be doing, it really doesn't have any legs, because all the stuff that men continue to do. So even though she's doing a bunch of stuff, she's looking at it like, well, I'm taking care of you, so everything else I'm doing, it should just be wiped off. If that makes sense.
Is it important? Would you guys say it's important? Would you guys say that you think it's important that women, as a woman, I found that I've had to, in group conversation with other women, just put out fires immediately before you even get to the bashing part, because you can see it coming from a mile away, like, oh, here we go. You know, it could be a conversation, you're trying to have a healthy conversation about maybe some relationship issues, and you'll see where the him becomes a they very quickly. You know, it's no longer now about this individual who we're discussing, which is her partner. It becomes a they. They, you know. I've gotten caught up in that before, you know, but I found that, I mean, and you, that's what I'm trying to find out. What do you guys think? Who a woman surrounds herself with definitely has impact, and whether or not she becomes this male basher, you know, because sometimes our friends mean well, but they're speaking from hurt places too. And I think it's important for us to kind of like decipher that, like be able to say, I hear you, and I know you mean well because you love me, but you're still dwelling on your ex that hurt you, and then you're looking like, this brother that I'm dealing with is not your ex. So I really can't come to you for good advice. So would you guys say that women, as far as male bashing is concerned, it's important that the women who are in relationships and trying to maintain healthy relationship surround themselves with like-minded women?
Well, that's we all know the old saying, misery loves company. Okay, when somebody's talking just as low as you find comfort in that.
Yeah.
So when you find something that requires discipline and change, the hardest thing that any person can do is change within self. The Quran says jihad is the war within. So we are constantly having a war within ourselves for that change, that balance. So we can learn to deal with the war within ourselves, self-healing first. Then you can move on, because if you are hurting, it means you need a timeout.
Agreed.
You have no business moving forward to a new relationship. if a brother is financially struggling, he has no business seeking a woman whatsoever. But you gotta look what depression does. Depression allows you to lean on what makes you feel good for the moment. So if it's sex, for women too, if it's sexual intention, for that moment I feel good, you make me feel good, make you feel good, we got that in common, that's it. After it's over, there's no conversation, nothing to talk about, nothing in common. You at the end of the day, the woman's like, damn, I laying down with a man who can't produce, and the man's laying there like, okay, I can't do nothing for this woman, but other than what's physical. Also, we gotta look at what also feeds depression is alcohol in our community, the drugs, stuff like that. Those things have a factor why we have so much imbalance in our conversation, because we're seeking the wrong things. So when you are dealing with depression and don't know how to communicate, a lot of men don't know the nature of a woman. Only thing he knows is from what we learn on television, the music and stuff like that. If I got a couple dollars in my pocket, she's supposed to fall all over me, or only thing she's good for is, physical, contribution. But he doesn't know how to maintain what he seeks after. Now, a man that gets a nice brand new car, you notice he keeps it clean, he maintains it, he knows how it works inside and out, he knows if something goes wrong, I need to check the oil, make sure it's good. But when it comes to the best creation God has given us, which is the woman, he's clueless on how to maintain her when she's upset. How do I console my woman when she's upset? I'm saying when she raises her voice, how do I stay humble and listen to the words that she's saying? Because sometimes you guys are saying some key words, and if we're not listening, we miss out on it. You should understand that you're emotional, so us being strong, we should, okay, let me step back and see why she's feeling the way she does, or be wise, take a time out. That's a strong solution. Two hot heads don't get nothing solved. I'm saying the mature person has to say, you know what, let's revisit this when cool head prevails, to have an intellectual conversation. And I think two reasonable people, let's say, no matter what the disagreements are, could come to the table when they have cool heads. And sometimes we get into, I'm gonna say my point, because I wanna make sure I'm the man, I'm gonna be strong with my words and do this. And then when the sister says, well, I ain't gonna let no man, see all that training that the television, the program does this, we can't even talk, where you feel like, hey, I ain't gonna let no man talk over me, I'm not gonna let a man, I'm not gonna let a woman dominate me.
Absolutely.
So we're playing these games, which
Right.
oppressors know that.
Right.
It's a power struggle. It becomes
Right.
a power struggle.
Right, but at the end of the day,
And who benefits?
who benefits?
Yeah.
And where's the power? Look at our community. So nobody has the power because our community's falling apart. So we really got no
Right.
power, but the foolishness that we have arguing with one another.
But you just made a good point too about men also not understanding women, which is Demetrius was earlier saying women we lack our understanding as but I feel like if they both can't understand each other, where do we learn this? Where are the schools at? Who is teaching this? Who is teaching us how to tune in and how to learn about each other? Because this is the thing, relationships are gonna happen. We're gonna do this regardless, right? And we're gonna reproduce. And these things are gonna happen. And then if we don't figure this out, what we don't realize we're doing is and it makes me sad that when we come into relationships, you were talking about you come in with a certain mindset, which I feel like both people are coming in guarded, very guarded. And I think a lot of us learn this from our nucleus, which is our home environment.
Right.
Because this is where we learn how to do relationships. And so if you see a man and a woman constantly at each other's neck, you think that that's just how it's supposed to be.
Yes.
And that makes me sad because you go into a relationship expecting it to just be so rocky all the time, or because we're wired differently. And I'm sorry, call me optimistic or an idealist. I think that it doesn't have to be a fight. Relationships does not have to be a struggle all the time.
Yeah.
So my question is, where do we learn? Because if you're not understanding me and I'm not understanding you, and it's leading to us bashing each other, where do we get this knowledge?
Well,
I got it.
I'm loaded. Okay, so Nearly Fuller Jr. says that you should have 100 to 200 questions. The woman has 100 to 200 questions. The male has 100 to 200 questions about, and I can ask you anything. You can ask me anything. That's a way of getting to know each other. Now, this is before sex. So imagine how long it'll take to answer 200 questions that I may have for you, you may have for me. That's 400 questions. That's going to delay sex. So when we get into the bed, it should not be nothing that we don't know about each other.
But what does the proof come in though?
The
I mean,
proof
when you start asking these questions,
How do you know it's
how do you
true?
know the revelation?
Well, once you start asking certain questions, it creates conversation. And through that conversation, you'll find out
If you're listening.
Yeah,
You better.
you'll find out what
Okay.
you're dealing with, and especially
Okay.
if you're experienced. Now, and also the learning piece on how to deal with each other. You know, of course, if you have it in your home, that's a good place.
Start, yeah.
As well as the community. Now that could be a toss up on what you see in the community. That could be a toss up because that's where we're learning a lot of what we know
Yeah.
through the community. You know what I mean? And like I said, that can be a toss up. So I think primarily as you get older, you have to identify at some point in your life that you are not good at relationships and that you need
Everybody? We all should?
If you keep failing.
yeah, if you keep
okay.
failing them, or if you have conversation, you have to, at some point, you have to recognize that. If you get married young,
Okay.
you have to, at some point, you know, I say this, and I'm gonna just end my piece on this. I say that everybody should have, everybody should have a mentor 20 years older than them. So if you're 20, you should have somebody that's 40 years old, because then they can give you, that's a 20-year gap on what life would be like at 40. I'm 40 right now, so I will have a mentor that's 60. You could tell me what life is like at 60. You understand what I'm saying? And even at 60, someone that's 80, you know, nursing homes, Viagra, and whatever else going on that I will be dealing with between the ages of 60 to 80. So you got to have, and I know we use that word loosely, but the mentor thing, you gotta have that. You gotta have somebody that's a little ahead of you, that's been
Some
through
sort of
it.
eldership.
Yes, to tell you, hey, what's going on, and you gotta be open to that. Even if you got, because I noticed growing up, it was always that person that everybody thought was crazy in the neighborhood that had the most answers. And I used to embrace, I embraced a few people like that. People that thought they walked by them every day, or they walked by us every day, and you thought they didn't know anything. So you have to find that information somewhere about relationships, life, etc.
Well, that's out of what my brother said, and we gotta look at where we're learning this. First, we gotta look at how we came to this land, or how dividing the man and the woman was by design. The woman was only used to reproduce more babies for more slaves. So when the slave master said, "Hey, go to that wench and just produce with no responsibility," the slave master became the daddy, the husband, everything else, and made him in charge. The male was only good for producing with the black woman and also going to the field. So fast forward to some degree, we knew who our open enemy was at once upon a time, where we had more marriages back then than we do today, because we knew the value of each other. We didn't look about who had a degree, who had this. We knew the value of each other to our survival. So let's use Black Wall Street, for example. Okay, now we built a community, okay, without no degrees, no loans, nothing like that, because we developed a civilization for what's going on today with each other. There was a family structure there. The man took care of business, the wife took care of her business, and that balance was there. There was no feminine movement and none of that stuff. It was brother and sisterhood to why we were successful. Now, through different things throughout the years that had to intervene with that, we got to look at the hurt mother, the hurt father, who's not in the household. So if a hurt mother's in the household and she has a daughter, first thing she can say, that no good end is this, no good this, and CDAS. You know what I'm saying? Now she got her girlfriends. Now they sitting around the daughters talk about that same, the beauty parlor, the nail salon. You know, the man ain't nothing, he ain't this, he ain't
And
that.
the little girls are listening.
And they listen to that. Now grown now, they watch television now, and I use The Bachelor for example. The only one that seems distinguishes this tall white man. He has a successful career, because there's a lot of broke white men out there. Don't let them fool you.
Right,
There's a
right.
lot of them out there hurting too.
Of
So
course.
let's get that out there. But the images, and right now you say, well, I can't deal with it. And even though with another black man, I hate my baby's mother. I can't stand her because she's milking his resources, because the system tells him, you know what, you can get $500 a week, a month from this man. He can't make $500 a week. So guess what? He owes, he's in debt. Now he can't produce this anymore because he's in debt, because the system knows the dynamics in that community because they designed it. So if you look at what's going on now, we can fix the problem by, like the brother said, seek those who know better. If I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna talk to a married couple and see what the do's and don'ts are.
Yes.
A successful marriage.
Yes.
Let's say whether it be the church, the mosque, at work, how does your marriage work? If I'm struggling with this, and the woman's gonna give you wise counseling if she cares about your well-being. If she's your sister, she's gonna tell you it's gonna be work, but guess what? It's doable. If a man gets mad, it's how you handle it. And vice versa with the man. you tell a young brother, hey, you know what? If she gets upset, don't dimble or separate yourself, man.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put hands on her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we use our strength physically when she gets too much with the mouth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a woman could cut very sharply with that tongue, very sharply. But yeah, our only defense is,
Yes,
well,
we can.
I'm gonna get physical now. Now we're into a whole different domestic problem, which that's another conversation on its own.
Right.
But we don't know how to balance with each other. So just to go back to what we said, the initial interview, why do you want a man? Why do you want a woman? Do you want a husband? Do you want a wife? Those are two different titles than having a girlfriend and boyfriend. Because we talk about husband, that's responsibility. We talk about wife, that is a responsibility. In the nation, we have something called a courtship process, where you ask those hard questions, similar to what the brother was saying. Okay, sister, what do you want? And you got to be blunt of what you want. So it's my choice now, like, wow, I can handle what she's asking for.
Right.
And vice versa.
Right, and vice versa. Yeah.
And I just wanted to add this: do we have our young people and some older people too? I don't want to. I'm gonna just say role play, but when he mentioned about men being physical, because women's words are their left hands.
That's their fist.
Yes, even though when the police come, you going to jail. So, do we talk to our young brothers in particular? Our sisters too, but brothers in particular, about this is what you're going to deal with, and these are the tools you need to have when you deal with these situations. And even sisters, if a brother wants to, and I got into a situation like this, where I had a disagreement with a sister, and I walked away, and she crucified me for walking away. Now I'm saying, do we tell our sisters, hey, if a brother walks away, let him have his moment? Brothers walk away, you know what I'm saying? If a sister is in your face, this is what you do. But give brothers tools. You understand what I'm saying? When you're in situations, because I personally believe if you married somebody for 30 years, somebody gonna get swung on. That's just my personal belief. And I don't condone it, but I feel that if you in the house with somebody that long, somebody gonna get swung on.
Wait, and I have to interject here. Doesn't have to be that way.
I don't.
Demetrius.
I listen.
No.
I'm
But
not
what I
with
will say is this, because when you say somebody's gonna get swung on,
Right.
One of the things that I struggle with now in my 30s that I see is that the pain or the feelings of a woman always takes precedence over that of a man. And that is a problem. It is a problem, and it leads to a lot of other issues in how we treat men as women. It really does. I think that we have to start with not looking at men, but looking at them as human beings first. They may not be as emotional as us, but that doesn't mean they're emotionless.
Exactly.
And we have to know that, because as women, you're talking about hands. Some women are using their fists now.
I know.
And the issue with that is that women are putting their hands on men because they've been socialized to think that
He won't hit me
he's
back.
he's not supposed to hit me back.
Right.
Because if he does, it makes him less of a man.
Right.
And most men don't. But
Right,
we
for the
will
most
take our
part.
frustrations out in other ways.
Yes.
To get back at women. But all of it is abusive.
It's
nevertheless.
abuse, period.
Right.
And then there's that verbal abuse. We are
Absolutely.
wicked with the tongue as
Right.
women.
Right.
Like, you guys just can't compete with us.
Right.
I don't even know where we get the stuff from
Right.
when we get mad. It just we just get a download from I don't know who, but it just comes, and we're really devious if we're being
Right.
honest, because women go hard. Like we're trying to hit you, and
Absolutely.
we'll use like your most vulnerable stuff, the stuff that you disclose to us, which
Absolutely.
then now produces a distrust in the
Exactly.
relationship. Like, oh, so you think I'm gonna tell you anything again? So you can throw that
Well,
up in my
it's
face?
It's so many things that make up a man's manhood that it's easy to attack us. So I know we're not as quote unquote emotional as women,
Yeah.
but I think we're more vulnerable, because if you bump a brother,
Yeah.
it's a fight. If you
Yeah.
step on his shoe, if you look, but women don't fight if you step on their shoe or bump them, or
For the most part.
No.
for the most part, women don't
Right.
really do
Yeah.
that, but men have so many. So when you get into those arguments, it's so many things that you can go at. Our car, you know what I'm saying? You can threaten that. You can threaten calling our job. It's things that men don't
wonder-
even do.
I'm wondering if it has anything to do with the whole testosterone thing, men having more of that aggression part of the male
Biology,
genome.
yeah.
Well,
Right.
the testosterone and estrogen, which defines us.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Makes
Yeah,
us different.
Right,
Mhm.
but it still brings us balance.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? We need testosterone. We don't have enough of it. Testicular fortitude, this is why our community looks the way it does.
Right.
Because we're not using that testosterone correctly.
Mhm.
We're not being productive with it.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
back to, you know what I'm saying, us having our better relationship,
Mhm.
if a man understands the nature of a woman,
Mhm.
that's the bottom line. Like in the nation, we have men's class on Mondays and we have our sister class on Saturdays.
Mhm.
We have men's class so we can have, if my brother comes to the class and he has a problem,
Mhm.
the brotherhood
A separate conversation. Yeah.
can address that because somebody's going to have an answer for my brother to talk to.
Mm.
So when we have those ciphers in the community, we sitting around talking, it's good for the elder to be there, older brother, like your brother say, in those conversations, even just listening, so he can guide the conversation properly.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a fool leaving the conversation is going to breed other fools.
That's
And
right.
that goes for male and female. So when we have our sisterhood training, okay, where you might have grandmas that say, no, come to the kitchen and learn how to cook. Now it's a dishonor for women's in the kitchen now.
Right.
And guess what? The fast food restaurants now, our wives, our mothers cooking our food now. We're killing ourselves because we have lost the nature of what made us good as a family as a whole. So you tell a woman now, hey, nice to have a nice hot meal. Man loves that. He don't care about your degree. I'm being honest with you. I prefer, I'll speak for myself, maybe the brother might, when a woman cooks a nice hot meal, like my wife can cook.
Mhm.
When I come home and I can smell the essence of food, I'm down to take my shoes off, do what I gotta do, she come to the table, because I know that my wife put time and love into that meal. It doesn't dishonor. My wife has a degree and everything. She's
Right.
very smart.
Right.
That doesn't demean her.
Mhm.
That means that she has enough love in her heart for me to prepare a meal, because I know she knows that the black man is dealing with hell in the community. So when I come home, that's supposed to be my heaven. So the black woman is supposed to create the heaven for the black man in order for him to say, you know what, I want to go straight home. I'm gonna hang with the fellas for. You got nothing for me that I ain't got at home and better.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Now you see when
Yeah.
you cooking for that man, you doll yourself up, because your man worked hard all day. So you know that, hey, I got a good man. I'm gonna fix myself a little, put a little perfume on. When he comes through the door, he smells me and the food. So he's open now. See the vision I'm giving? He's
Yeah.
open
But
now.
I have a question. They did a survey, and I think it's two things. I can't remember what the second one is, but at
Right.
the top of it, where they was talking about men look for in relationships as far as women, respect is at the top.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember looking at it and saying, but what is like to know what respect is, because there are things depending on how we're raised.
Right.
You might find disrespectful that I may not. You know what I mean? Where someone does something like, well, that's not a big deal, but it might be a huge deal for you. So when I read the survey, I'm like, okay, respect is at the top, but then it still means that if I decide I'm going to be with Demetrius and I'm going to commit, I have to tune in. As far as this is what triggers him, this is what makes him tick, this is what, this is what makes him feel disrespected or emasculated. Like, I feel like it's on the person, the person, you as an individual who have chosen to be in a relationship with this person, to tune into that.
Yeah.
Because you cannot, and I think we do this a
Yeah.
lot with each other, we
Right.
come with this real, like a blueprint,
Right.
but one blueprint don't fit every
Everybody.
person, because our experiences and our upbringings are all different. So it's really down to you tuning in, but the across the board respect is at the top for men.
Right. Or we come to the relationship self-centered, to where you're not tuning in because
Right.
we're so focused on what we can get
Yeah.
out of
What can you do for me?
the situation, and thinking about what that beautiful picture you just
Yeah.
painted of a beautiful relationship, and how tainted that has become. It's like all that beauty, and we know it worked because we can look back not too far in the past to see the evidence of what you just described working for a family unit. But now some of us will hear that I'm not cooking, I'm not da 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 da. So it's like all that has become tainted, from I say this society, this culture.
If I could add on to that, dear sister, if you look at what Dr. Cosby did with the Cosby Show, perfect analogy. Both of them were successful. One's a doctor, one's a lawyer.
Right.
Now, when that show first came out, a lot of us said that's not reality. We're so used to the image of good times. But we're not used to Dr.
Yeah.
Husband. We don't mind James, because James was that, he hustled, but he always struggling, what have you. But both characters were both strong, no matter one was had different financial success.
Right.
But James ran his household, not in a negative way.
Right.
And Cliff Huxtable ran his community, his household in a positive way. Because if you look at what Claire Huxtable and Cliff Huxtable, one was a doctor, one's a lawyer. Okay. When they came in, she respected him as her husband.
That's my point.
And she never said, I got a degree. She never went in his, she never got in his face.
I don't get what the money and stuff
And then,
has to do.
if you remember an episode when Theo messed up, she waited for Cliff to come home to check her son. And he was worried because dad was coming home. So once upon a time, when my father, what kept me in line was, the mother always said, "Wait till your father get home." That was a sickening feeling because you know that dad, he creates peace for the home for the mom. That's where the balance comes in that. So if you look, I'm using that show as an analogy that it can be done no matter, as far as success, but the respect, that you said, has to be there. This is why we got to have that courtship conversation in the beginning before we jump into bed, before you move in. Have that conversation. You're not asking those hard questions.
I know that we have to wrap up,
Oh.
so I'm gonna, and the time flew, but we're gonna let you guys, we can start with Demetrius, to just have closing remarks.
You kind of got me on that
I'm
one.
sorry.
Brother, you go,
Yeah,
you
you
go.
can
I'll
start
come
first.
back.
Okay.
Well,
I know you have a program that you do.
Yes,
as well.
and someone is asking for your info because they said they want to sit under your teachings.
well, it's not my teachings. The teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Okay.
So all praises due to Allah. Thank you for the kind words. But I would like to thank Allah for giving us the spirit that we have to have this meaningful conversation. It was an honor and a pleasure to sit next to my brother
Yes, sir.
in dialogue, and I learned so much from my brother. And this is
Right.
what we need more
Yeah,
of.
That's right.
And it's an honor to have before my sisters. I respect you and I love what you're doing in the community, so please keep it up. In closing, I'd like to say that let's find love for yourself. If you're in a relationship with somebody, you want more, let's find out how can we be more productive and loving towards each other. And let's separate. Now, initially we said let's do separation, but once we separate from what's destroying us, you can start seeing that love that we're talking about, get that balance. But we got to have an open conversation with that. So if you want to come out to the nation, we're on Pennsylvania branch, 3160 Pennsylvania branch, Muhammad number 4, excuse my language. Muhammad Mosque number 4 on Pennsylvania Branch Avenue. We have Sunday meeting, but we do have a men's class on Mondays at 7:30. We're not asking you to change your religion. We're not asking whatever you believe in, whether you're Pan-African or Hebrew Israelite, whatever you are, you're still my brother. And we want to connect with you so we can have conversation and build and grow. So with that being said, I want to thank you for having me in the panel. And sisters, you have a sisters class on Saturday as well, and also Wednesday and Friday classes at 7:30 and 8 o'clock. Please come on through the mosque and we can have a community building organization.
And that's in Washington, D.C.
That's in Washington, D.C.
And
that's
real
correct.
quick, tell them how they can catch you on the radio program.
Okay, I do have a program called Brother Levon X Community Reporting. And if you want, my email address is brother, BROTHER spelled out, Levon, LEVONX @gmail.com. And I'm under Von X Bellamy under Facebook. If you want to friend me in, then I can put you out in the panel. I'm on Facebook. And that's it. So,
Is at Gmail?
yes, correct.
Okay.
Brother LevonX @gmail.com.
Okay.
Thank you, Brother
My pleasure.
Vaughn.
And I'm just gonna say, and mine's is gonna be quick. It's just basically, I'm big on communication and high dialogue. All the people that know me, my
Yeah.
closest friends, they know that about me. So I would just say to continue to have honest and serious dialogue. And if you are courting or dating a man, I'm straight up about the 200 questions or some real conversation about what you really want, physically, financially, the whole nine, and be realistic and be honest. And I think that alleviate a whole lot of problems because men, we do a whole lot of lying to get you in the bedroom, and then we know the result when you find out, and vice versa. So if we could just put it all on the table, we especially if you of age. It ain't the first woman you ever been with, so she walk away, it's not a big deal. So just put whatever you want on the table, be honest, men and women, and I think it would alleviate a lot of the issues that we have in our relationships.
Beautifully
And
stated.
if I can say one last quick
Yes.
thing. September 16th, the Honorable Mr.
yeah.
Louis Farrakhan will be in Washington, D.C. at Union Temple Church. So please come out to see hear the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, who is fighting diligently to help build a community And I'd like to thank him because he stayed on his post to teach black men, one of the vessels, how to love and cherish our community, love my brother, love my sisters. So I want to give homage to that. So I wanted to add that plug in.
Ashe. Well, family, that is our Empower Hour. And the women will not be outdone because we're coming back to you next week with female bashing. So we're going to balance this thing right on out.
Yeah.
So tune in. You can catch Hanifah and I under Empower Our Talk Show on Facebook, under Miss Free the People on YouTube. That's with the MS, Free the People. And please share the information. You never know who's out there who needs to hear this type of dialogue that can help them in their current situation. So share. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, take care of each other. Peace.